Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Alumni Hall. My pleasure to be bringing you live OUA West women's basketball action here this afternoon, featuring the Guelph Griffins against your Western Ontario Mustangs. We're going to take a pause now for our national anthem. And welcome once again to Mustang Sports here at Alumni Hall. Once again, this is Kevin Gordon alongside of Greg Layson, joining us all the way from Guelph. And Greg, great to have you along here today. We got a good matchup here, quite the disparity in the standings. However, as we talked about before the game, two teams that are going to bring a lot of competition to the floor this afternoon.
Well, that's just it. Guelph not very high up in the standings, in the basement, in fact, but these two teams played to a 10-point game last time they met in Guelph. Personally, for me, I think it was the best game Guelph had played all season, so maybe they rise to the occasion. They lose this one and they're out, so perhaps they play well against Western, just trying to keep whatever glimmer of hope is alive for the playoffs.
And the players charged with doing that today for the Guelph Griffins, starting off this afternoon, number 5, Marley Freeman, joined by 6, Alex Yallen. Samantha Russell at the forward spot, along with sister Alex Russell, and standout second-year forward Jasmine Douglas manning the forward spot. Second-year player out of Guelph will be looking to call her name plenty today. Starting for the Western Mustangs on the afternoon, former Guelph Griffin Caitlin Letty, joined on the court by Lauren Parks, Jackie Self, Becky Williams, and of course, perennial OUA West All-Star team captain Amanda Anderson. Greg, this is a lineup for the Mustangs where you look 1 through 5, scoring options every spot, lots of depth of talent. Can we say the same for the Griffins yet?
No, you can't. I think you could if they were a healthy squad, but with two guards out, Ali Zakowski and Laura Rajnik, both on the bench with knee injuries. They're very, very weak at the guard spot, and we talked about it off camera. Guelph has a player that can take over a game in Jasmine Douglas, but someone needs to get her the basketball. Unlike Western, who has Amanda Anderson, she can take over at any time, and she demands the basketball. She controls the tempo. She has the ball in her hands at all times.
And we are off and running, and that is Guelph with the first possession of the game right there. Jackie Self, someone that Coach Barry says he expects a lot of this afternoon, out on the perimeter. Lauren Parks stepping up, and that is Douglas. Open up the shooting. Self ripping down the board, pushing up court. Anderson wanting to transition. Talking to Coach Orton of the Griffins before the game, Greg, she mentioned that Western, being the hot three-point shooting team that they are, they must defend the arc.
Well, they have to, but the problem is in Caitlin Letty, who had a tremendous game on Rogers Varsity Sports last week up at Laurier. She was our player of the game, and she is a threat in the post, so if you take one away, it may open up the other.
A team as deep and as talented as Western, and we're certainly looking at one of the pick-your-poison type ideas here this afternoon. And as you mentioned, Caitlin Letty, there she is cracking the goose egg on the scoreboard, hitting her first of 2 free throws. Foul on the play went against number 13, Alex Russell. The 3 forwards for the Griffins, Greg, Russell, and Douglas, could perhaps pose a bit of a problem for the Mustangs inside, particularly with their ability to generate the offensive rebounds.
They run a high-low post that often at times, and either one, all 3 actually, are capable of posting up. All 3 can move out from about 12, 13 feet and hit a J. They're tough to defend, but as I said, who gets them the basketball? That's the problem Guelph has run into so often this year. They get the pressure against them on the full court. It's tough to get over the timeline, and when they do, they have such little time to work with. It's hard to get down and establish yourself on the block. Although, they did a pretty good job against Western the last time they met.
Slight delay on the court as the shot clock was being adjusted. It did not start on the initial inbounds, and there we see, as you mentioned, guard play being the issue for Guelph right now. Turnover by Freeman right there. Ball over to the Mustangs. Williams set to bring the ball up the court.
Believe me, everyone has read the scouting report on Guelph. Every team that plays them pressures them full court right off the hop to try and get themselves on the scoreboard and establish a tempo of the game.
Self backs it up behind the line. Nothing but air. Letty with the rebound. Shot clock down to 8. And with that shot right there, nothing brewing, 2-0 for the Mustangs, still the score. Ball off the back of Anderson, lucky deflection there, rotation around, ball in the hands of Freeman. Freeman able to find Yallen up at the top. Yallen look for that post entry, gets a screen from Douglas. Trapped in the corner, good double team by the Mustangs. Douglas wants to get rid of it. 2 seconds on the clock. A prayer goes up, air ball, nothing but air, violation called right there. The referees perhaps stopping a breakout opportunity. No black jersey in the vicinity right there, and the referees blowing the whistle, stopping a breakout opportunity by the Mustangs.
It's a tough call and a frustrating call for the Mustangs because you realize you had the outlet, you had control of the basketball, then you stop and you can't get an easy deuce.
Anderson coming off the screen, puts one up, no good. Rebound to Douglas. Douglas averaging a double-double in games of late, almost 10 boards a game on the season, and adding to that 11.5 points a game. Once again, Griffin's using every little bit of that shot clock. Ball in the corner, 3-ball put up there. That attempt was by Russell, no good. Mustangs cleared away. Here comes Williams.
If you're a fan of the post game, Caitlin Letty and Jasmine Douglas already off to terrific starts, both scoring and rebounding wise.
And there is a strip inside right there by Yallen. Yallen pushing hard, turnover right there as the Mustang defense collapsed hard on her.
And that's an example of Guelph being weak at the guard spot. Yallen is a shooting guard, not necessarily the one you want handling the ball and running it up the floor.
Parks takes it strong to the left side, and she uses every inch of that 6-foot frame to get it up and in.
And that's what a lot of people forget. Parks is out on the floor too. You can double team Letty all you want. It leaves Parks open, and she's just as good on the block when she has her opportunities.
Lauren Parks, a player in her 5-year career here in the purple, has had some ups and downs. Certainly someone who we know can create offense anytime she's on the floor. Looking to create there was Freeman. And there is last-minute attempt, and it is whistled. No shot right there by the officiating crew. Shot clock violation.
And we overheard eavesdropping on our microphones and Jordan saying we haven't even put the ball inside yet. Douglas has had one look. It was a decent 15-foot shot from the free throw line, but that's it. They haven't pounded it down low.
Certainly the strength of this Griffin program we know lies in the forwards, the Achilles heel, the ability to get them the ball. Here is Williams, rookie out of London, one of our halftime feature interviews here, along with Melissa Rondonelli. Be sure to tune in for that one, fans. It will be a good one. Anderson up and off the glass, drop it in for her first 2 of the ball game. And I'll tell you, Greg, Amanda Anderson certainly one of the Griffin slayers the last time these two met.
25 points she poured in on the Griffins last time they met in Guelph a couple weeks ago. Anderson, arguably one of the best guards in the OUA.
Anderson certainly garnering some attention now in the media outlets in terms of end-of-season awards, possibly being mentioned in the Player of the Year discussions. And one of those players that around the league, you know that you have to, every coach knows that they have to mark her every time that she's on the court.
She's so dangerous. She's an outside threat. She can slash and she distributes the basketball. Her and Taylor Smith at MAC, 2 players who are very similar, and you could. It seems like every game I call, I've seen them both now. Well, she's the best point guard in the OUA. So anytime either one of them are on the floor, they're arguably the best player that Saturday or that Wednesday evening.
And that was Freeman at the line, converting for the Griffins. Anderson now looking to enter the Letty. Letty, strong hands with the catch, finds Mallon in the corner. Quick rotation up top. Letty with position again. Double teamed inside, keeps the ball moving. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Moss in the corner puts it up. Count that basket at the 24 clock buzzer. Rebecca Moss.
Unbelievable ball movement by the Western Mustangs and great poise to beat that shot clock.
Griffins trying to find an answer, trying to get those post touches that we know Coach Orton is after with her imposing front court lineup. There's Anderson stepping in, stealing a weak pass by the guards coming down. And a backcourt foul called here on Alex Russell. That'll force Coach Orton into a timeout here as she has to settle the troops and get everybody back on the same page.
9-2, and Western looking good on both ends of the floor. You have to take a timeout and talk it over. Amanda Anderson with that steal. We talk about how quick she is up and down the floor. How about how quick she is laterally stepping in front, getting a hand in and knocking that ball away. It was an entry pass to the post, which is Guelph's bread and butter. It's what they've tried to work on, and Anderson sagged off enough to get her hand inside. Great steal.
And we've talked about it more than a few times here on Mustang Sports, the fact that Amanda Anderson, someone who does get a lot of recognition, deservedly so, however, has oftentimes also been playing in the shadow of great players. Last year's OUA West Player of the Year, Bess Lennox was wearing the purple for 4 of Amanda's 5 years here at Western. In her early days, players like Julie Lamparski, Alana Uzanis wearing the purple and white. Yet Amanda Anderson, a player who has certainly carved out her own space in Mustang basketball history, the all-time leading scorer in Mustang basketball history, and climbing the OUA record books as well. Will not catch all-time OUA women's basketball scoring leader Cassandra Carpenter, the great 5-year player up at Laurentian. However, a chance by the end of her regular season to move into second place all-time on that list.
It's all about making the most of your time, right? And Anderson's time has come, and she has put together potentially an MVP season here in London.
Now we talk about putting in your time there, Greg, and the player that jumps off of Guelph's roster right now, unfortunately someone who's not in the game, however, Ali Zakowski, a player with a knee injury right now, not suiting up, a player with an incredible basketball resume. This is a player that I know we have to watch for when she comes back next year.
She was a junior national player who came to Guelph with great potential. She blew out her knee. So didn't get to play her freshman year. Played last year, suffered through a blood clot around Christmas in her left arm, had an operation to get rid of that and get back on the court, and then blew out her knee before this season, her other knee. So she is sitting out again. She has all but 1 year of eligibility left. She is someone you're going to have to keep an eye on.
Moss feeling it from the arc, puts one up and puts it down. Rebecca Moss, give her 6 on the game, 6 of Western's 12. It is a big early lead here for the Mustangs. Not the way you want to come out of a timeout, giving up a clean look at the arc.
Took the words right out of my mouth. You take a timeout, talk things over, you go out and you give up a big 3.
Once again, working that shot clock are the Griffins, using every second available. There's post touch for Douglas. Douglas working hard inside, gets her shoulder going to the rim, but that foul called early on the floor. It'll be possession for the Griffins on the end line.
The positive out of that, if you're a Guelph fan, is that you got the ball down low to your most potent scorer, so you're starting to do things right. You're starting to run the offense, and you got to hurry up because you're down 10. You don't want to get down too much more early. You've only got 2 points on the board. They trail 12-2. You have to get something to get your confidence boosted.
And matching those 2 points are 2 fouls, both against Letty for the Mustangs. She'll go to the bench. Rondonelli comes in. And there is a cure for what ails you right there. Jamie Green knocking it down from behind the arc. Anderson now with Mallon, running the curl. On the court right there is Stephanie Lundstrom working that ball into Rondonelli. Lundstrom looking for Anderson, cross court. Anderson likes what she sees. Too strong on that rebound to Yallen. Yallen will push for the Griffins. Wide open up the court. Mustangs lost track in transition defense, but unfortunately Sam Russell unable to convert. Lundstrom clears the board.
You need to convert that. That is a gimme point. It's a free bucket. Would have crept the Griffins to within 5.
Anderson prodding with the ball. Moss wanting to attack, taking it hard. Big swing there by Russell to knock that ball away. She picks up the loose one. She'll push back now for the Griffins. Rotation to Yallen. Yallen left isoed in the corner with Lundstrom. Douglas, nice backdoor feed, can't get it to her soon enough, but she's able to elevate the ball, get the foul, and earn herself a trip to the line.
How about that court sense by Jasmine Douglas to know exactly where the players were. Caught on a bit of a double team. They weren't sure if they were going to go down a double teamer. She slid through the back door, got the ball. Another foul. Should be pointed out, too, the 2 on Letty have forced her to the bench. Guelph has to go down and pound it down low now as one of the best players, best defenders on the bench.
And Douglas, one of 3 bigs that can pose these problems for the Mustangs. Rondonelli with a foul. Letty already with 2 in the opening stanza. Just over 4 minutes to play. 12-6 the score for the Mustangs here. The Mustangs certainly carrying the pace of play right now, seeming to get most of what they want. But if Guelph can start to work this ball inside, get those post touches with the bigs, given the foul trouble they're starting to create already, could be a long afternoon for the purple and white.
Douglas, a pretty decent free throw shooter, too. She has no problem making a living from the line and putting the Mustangs in foul trouble. It's just as good that she goes to the line as it is she gets the layup.
Moss in the high post. Rondonelli with position on Douglas. And the pass just out of the outstretched arms. Mallon could not get the ball into Rondonelli. Substitutions coming for the Mustangs. Here comes Self back into the game.
And the Mustangs continue to put that pressure on, realizing there's a chance to get a turnover.
Mallon, Self, and Anderson, and there's Anderson. Nice little drop off for Self with the teardrop. Too easy when you've got that sort of experience putting the press on in the backcourt. There's Moss playing pickpocket, cannot control the ball, unfortunately. It will be out of bounds as the Griffins were looking for Mulhausen there. Griffins possession.
I'm kind of surprised that Guelph is struggling against the press the way they are. They played their best game against Western, against essentially the same press 2 weeks ago. You'd think they would have gotten better as the season went on. They're really struggling here today.
In talking with Coach Barry before the game, he recognized that he had a possible guard advantage, and he mentioned he wanted to take full advantage of it. The press being one of those ways. Shot clock trouble for the Griffins. They cannot create a shot opportunity. Turn the ball over to the Mustangs. 14-7 the score, 3:20 left to play.
That's the second shot clock violation the Mustangs have pressured the Guelph Griffins into. Great suffocating defense in the half court and a great full court press by Western early in this first quarter.
Guelph will have to get it done with defense right now as the offense is still waiting to start firing. And here we have an illegal screen called on Moss. Moss trying to take advantage right there. Caught with her hand in the cookie jar, turn it over, ball to the Griffins.
And that's the second consecutive turnover by the Western Mustangs. Guelph failed to score on the last one. In fact, they turned it over themselves in a shot clock violation. When you get the ball back for free, you have to make the best of your possessions. They haven't been able to do that early.
Pressure shown here by the Mustangs once again. Anderson just taking the ball away from Freeman right there. Parks skies for the O board, puts the contact in, tries to get it back up, and she will, on the second attempt, get the whistle. She's going to line for a pair of free throws. You got a kid like a Lauren Parks sitting back there in the middle of the press, able to come down from the top when the first shot attempt goes up. She can be a load on the offensive boards.
Talked about playing in shadows, and she's playing in Caitlin Letty's shadow early this season. And Parks, to me, just as skillful on the block as Letty can be.
You see the Griffins huddled there behind the free throw shooter, making sure everybody understands their defensive assignments offensively, their goals in the next possession. They do have 3 minutes to play here in this opening stanza. 15-7 the score in favor of the Mustangs. We'll make it 16 with Parks converting there. Parks not known for her free throw skill, but certainly doing a nice job there today. Yallen now gets rid of the ball over to Green. Green rotation over to Mulhausen. Rondonelli watching her closely. There's an ISO post for Douglas. She goes to the middle, unable to convert, but that is a play that Coach Orton will like to see all afternoon, as Douglas will make more of those, and she misses.
Did a nice job making herself real wide, real big with her arms outstretched, and Mulhausen with a nice pass, bounce pass down under her hand.
Here's Parks, working her way in, left side again, no good. Rondonelli, board, stripped on the play by Yallen. Yallen ready to push. Working against Williams. Takes it hard. Williams with a piece of the ball, able to corral it, throws it out to the half, and Guelph does a nice job of recovering. That's Green pushing back. Yallen with the ball in the corner now, and Green working at the top. Shot clock an issue again. We're down to 7. Yallen, ball in her hands, ISO'd on Williams. Cannot create a shot for herself. Green has to launch a prayer. Nothing but air, and the turnover once again. The third shot clock violation going now against the Griffins.
And if you're head coach Steph Barry, you have to love the defense your team is putting out there right now, especially with Caitlin Letty on the bench. Everybody else doing a nice job pressuring the guards, not giving them even a remote look at the basket from beyond the arc to try and beat that shot clock.
And Greg, I was talking to Coach Orton before the game, and she was very honest in saying, flat out, we must have a balanced attack. We do not have a player the caliber of, say, an Amanda Anderson, someone you can put the ball in her hands with the shot clock winding down and ask her to create. They must create for each other out there and not get into the one-on-one opportunities. What's the remedy right now? If you're on that Griffins bench, what are you looking to create offensively for yourself?
Well, offensively, you just have to protect the basketball. You have to make sure every pass is good, crisp, and clean. You can't force anything. If you have to use all 24 seconds, make sure you're controlling the basketball and getting it down low.
Rondonelli working hard inside, can't corral that rebound right there. Guelph able to push back. And there's a post touch inside for Russell. Going to the right side, turns around, count it down for 2 over Rondonelli. Nice move by Sam Russell going to the middle. Here is Anderson. Likes the 3, knocks it down, and that is Amanda Anderson knocking him down at a terrific clip this season. 39% on the season. And for all you mathematicians out there, you all know that 33% from the three-point line is equivalent to 50% from the field. So you will take that any day of the week, shooting 39%.
Again, it's as if we've worked together before. You took the words out of my mouth. You want to shoot around 33% from the three-point line. She's doing better than that.
Anderson with the rebound, pushing hard. 2-on-2 opportunity with Williams. Goes hard right side, gets the ball up off the glass. Little contact, no whistle. Guelph clears the rebound. 38 seconds and counting here. Guelph has a chance to go 2 for 1. They put it up nice and quick. Nothing but air. And there is a great save attempt by the Griffins. That was Diane Heffley. Right into the waiting arms of the Mustangs. Anderson feeling it from the arc. Buries another 3. Amanda Anderson. 18 seconds to go in the first quarter. Mustangs up 22-9. Griffins hoping for a little bit of momentum going into the break. Anderson, ultimate pressure on the ball right now. There is Russell asking for it. Has to create. Clock winding down from the corner. That's Yallen. Back rim, no good. And that'll take us into the first quarter break. Score Mustangs 22, the Griffins 9. Come on back and join us for second quarter action here on Rogers TV. I'm just going to leave it off here, make my life easy.
I can hear Kevin. He can't hear me.
I can't even hear Neil right now, should I?
I hear you.
You can hear me? No? Hello, hello? He's got me?
He said yeah.
I can't hear him at all, so...
He said it might be loose back here.
Oh. Everything's in at the back there. I'll check under the table. I can't tell. Shit.
Kevin?
Yes?
We're getting ready.
Sorry?
Stand by.
And welcome back here to Alumni Hall. Second quarter action coming up. Mustangs in front 22-9 after the first quarter of play. And Greg, I tell you, it seemed that the Mustangs were able to generate anything they wanted offensively, whereas the Guelph Griffins had trouble simply maintaining possession of the ball.
They simply couldn't protect the basketball. You're right. And a stifling defense by the Western Mustangs made it really difficult for the guard play of Guelph to get that entry pass down low to Guelph's gravy train, Jasmine Douglas, and the two Russell sisters, Alex and Sam. Just credit the Western Mustangs, their defense really creating their offense, if you will.
9 turnovers by the Griffins in the opening stanza. Here's Self going hard to the rim. Swatted away by Russell. Got a hand on the ball. Parks doing a great job tipping the ball ahead and tied up there by Williams. Possession to the Griffins. Taking a quick look at the halftime stats here, Greg, we see those 9 turnovers certainly jump off the page, as does the 18% shooting percentage for the Griffins. Conversely, the Mustangs having a day from the field right now. 4 of 7 from downtown. 2 of 2 for Moss. 2 of 4 for Anderson. Give Anderson 8 points to lead all scorers out of that first quarter. 43% from the field. Heffley taking it hard. No good, nothing doing. Williams able to clear the rebound. Williams pushing hard up the sideline. Nice find for Self cross court. Self going baseline, puts it up, lots of contact, no call. Rebound corralled by Russell. There is Heffley once again, taking it strong, tipped out by Lundstrom. And possession there for the Griffins. Sarah Mallon coming back in for the Stangs.
2 other statistics that stand out to me. When you look at Amanda Anderson's line, yes, she has 8 points. Yes, she's 2 for 4 from the arc. 3 assists, 2 steals, no turnovers. Not bad for a girl who touches the ball on virtually every possession.
And you turn the page and look at the star of late for the Griffins as the Griffins turn it over once again. Here comes Williams, one-on-one opportunity. Finds Lundstrom, takes two-handed shove in the back. No call there. Turn the ball over. Looking at the star player for the Griffins of late. Take a look at Jasmine Douglas and her line right now. And the Mustangs obviously keying on her. 0 for 2 in the opening stanza. 2 for 2 from the free throw line and a single rebound to go. Here is Mallon now for the Mustangs. 22-9 the score. Not a whistle yet here in the second quarter of play, but I'm sure I've jinxed that. Parks up to Williams. Rotation for Mallon. Mallon, somebody you have to watch from the arc, and if the basket is as big as it seems to be today, she's one that'll have her touches in before the game is out. And with that turnover, it is Yowlin with the ball in the corner, back up to Green. Rotation, Heffley feeling it from the arc, put it up and put it down.
How about Deanna Heffley coming in off the bench, making a save, tying up a jump ball, knocking down a 3. Not bad for a freshman guard. It wasn't highly recruited at all. She's doing all the little things right, working real hard. It's got to be a positive for your head coach, Ann Jordan, to know that you have a freshman coming in to be able to do all that hard work and then rewarded with the 3.
Now, Greg, as someone yourself who's played the game at higher levels, you talk about impact players coming in off the bench. Who's going to be that person to energize you? What's the mindset for a player, if you can fill us in, if you have any experience with this, what's the mindset for a player knowing they have to come in and provide that spark to the team?
Well, and I was the 6th man on my team, and what you had to do was just be ready to go in and work hard. Everything else is gravy. We always used to say our second unit when we played, we just wanted to go in and keep the score the same as it was when we came off. We went in up 5, we wanted to come off up 5. Then you know you've done your job, you've given your starters a breather and a break. Anything after that is gravy. If you were down and you could chip away at that lead, good on you. If you were up and you extended that lead, good on you. That's what you wanted to do. You just wanted to go in and work hard and make the job easier for your first unit when they return back to the floor. And I think that's what Heffley has done this season. She has come in and done all the good things, all the little things, diving on the floor, going after loose balls.
And when you consider the injury problems facing the Guelph Griffins right now, only 8 healthy players in there this afternoon. Certainly Heffley, one of many who will be forced into extended minutes today and must make the most of them if head coach Ann Jordan is to see her squad successful on the afternoon. Looking like they're settling into a 2-3 zone defense right now, given the hot shooting of the Mustangs. Interesting choice here by the coaching staff trying to mix things up. Anderson probing the top of that D. Rotation to Mallon. Mallon, one of the better three-point shooters on the squad. No good right there. Douglas with the team rebound. Green now working against Lundstrom. Mustangs staying into their traditional man-to-man defense. And there is a kick ball noted by the referee. Reset that shot clock. Possession on the sideline for the Griffins.
If you're Western on offense, you want to attack those seams now in that 2-3 zone. So watch to see if Anderson starts driving the lane, drawing a double team, and kicking it out to try and continue to open up that three-point shot.
Super sub Heffley rotating the ball up to Alex Russell. Russell working against Moss. Finds Yallen at the top. There is Heffley having herself an afternoon. Unfortunately, that ball tipped away there by Anderson. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Coming back in for the Griffins is number 8, Kara Mulhausen. Mulhausen, we talked about her before the game. Greg, another player, role player for these Griffins, someone who had an exceptional, short but exceptional career in the OCAA playing for Loyalist College and has certainly settled into a role here. Shot clock winds down. The Griffins unable to get the shot up ahead of the shot clock violation. Make it 4 on the afternoon.
4, and again, it is all about the defense. It's not necessarily about the inability to score if you're Guelph or get a shot off. It is just that Western is not giving them the opportunity.
You look at the lineup on the floor for the Mustangs right now. Parks, Anderson, Mallon, Moss, and Lundstrom. Certainly no let up anywhere on that floor, if perhaps any. Lundstrom, the one player out there who has never started for the purple and white. Each of the other players gaining at least one start in their careers. And here is Mallon finding Anderson wide open. Great ball movement. Anderson hits her third 3 of the game, and you called that one, Greg.
There's 2 ways to break down a zone. It's either attack the seams, drive, and let it collapse on you and kick it out, or it's move the ball around. And Western did a great job moving the ball around, getting that defense nice and tired and allowing Anderson's open shot.
Douglas showing some nice handles in the open court for a moment, then realized, well, the ball realized who was dribbling it perhaps, and it slipped away from her. Mustangs are unable to convert, however, so no damage done, just a delay in getting the ball into the offensive set. Here is Douglas working hard for position on Parks, but Green sees the scene. Pardon me, that is Kara Mulhausen taking it hard to the rack. She'll earn herself a trip to the line, and certainly Mulhausen, no stranger to the line, someone who in her OCAA career set, before she had graduated, the single season record for most free throw attempts in a season, so certainly knows what to do when she gets herself there.
I think she's that typical transfer who was really good at the college level, came in and is good enough to play CIS, comes in and fills a role, not necessarily a starter, but does a lot of little things well.
And we've had the good fortune of seeing on some of our recent broadcasts some of the outstanding talent that the OCAA has graduated to the CIS. Mulhausen today with the Brock Badgers. We saw Britt Pegg, one of the speedy guards, turnover creating machine, for the Badgers at the head of their press. And Chelsea Brown, standout defender for the Waterloo Warriors. All players with OCAA experience now finding their way in the CIS. Here is Self curling to the free throw line, up and down, and that's just too easy for the 6-foot transfer from Troy.
It's a pretty shot knocked down by Self. Just great rotation, good job to just get her feet set, put it up, and knock it down. That's the kind of player she has the potential to be. I've seen flashes of great things out of Self early this season.
Here is Douglas, ISO in the post. And when she gets a one-on-one opportunity, Jasmine Douglas will be converting.
Must double team her if you're going to make it hard for her. She's tough to guard, straight up one-on-one.
Shooting over 40% on the season is Douglas, and certainly the focal point of this Griffin offense here today. Anderson finds Self. Self with a great look into Rondonelli, but Douglas there to play the role of eraser. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Self works her way in. Off the rim, no good. Anderson doing a nice job playing the Gretzky role, working from behind the net.
And Douglas now starting to find herself, getting a little confidence. A nice shot, block shot, a rebound, starting to get a little more active, and you have to start to worry if you're Western. It is a 12-point advantage right now for the Mustangs, but if you get down into single digits before halftime, you're allowing Guelph to hang around.
And if you're the Griffins, do you feed the fire right now as we see Yallen launch the prayer and go down? And these Griffins, you said it, Greg, they love to hang around in the ball game, and right now chipping into that lead, only a 9-point Western advantage right now.
Mentioned it earlier that Yallen is more of a shooting guard than she is a point guard, and there she proved it, following the footsteps of her two sisters, Steph and Chris Yallen, who've already gone through the program. And yes, folks, there are more Yallen sisters on the way to Guelph.
And a fortuitous bounce there for Miss Moss, 111 to another right there. Here is Green, finds Mulhausen. Mulhausen looking for a post entry to Russell. Great seal. Self can't work around. No help available. Anderson sneaks in, but Russell too good on that one. That's 6 feet against 5'7". We know who's winning that one.
It was a terrific entry pass by Jamie Green. That is the toughest pass in basketball to make. Straight down the side of the key to lob it up and over like that's a difficult pass to make, but Green had it perfect.
Anderson ball at the top. Launch no good by the Mustangs, but tipped away. Griffins being a little lazy with the ball in their hands. Yallen loses it. 2-3 zone still here for the Griffins, as it seems to have slowed, maybe only somewhat, but slowed nonetheless, this Mustang attack. And they are able to create yet another turnover. Here is Yallen coming up. Pulls up, no good. Sam Russell with the rebound. Anderson watching here, post entry. Douglas double team, kicks it out. Nice pass right there to Yallen. Yallen with the wide open look, and Coach Barry has seen enough. He's calling a timeout.
That play was all Jasmine Douglas, knowing enough to kick it outside to Yallen. Take a look at it here on our replay. And again, if you get the ball down to Jasmine Douglas, good things are going to happen. You're going to see her realize she's double and triple team. She kicks it out to Yallen, has the wide open look. She's now hit 2 in a row.
And Greg, as we stood side by side and shook hands before the game, meeting each other for the first time, I can tell you were likely one of the forwards on your basketball team when you played your days. That's a play that is so tough to learn for the young forwards, isn't it? When you're double teamed, how to find the open man. Maybe to put us into that spot, if you will, given your background and experience. How tough is it to recognize where that pass should be?
Well, first and foremost, you have to realize who and how many people are guarding you. You seal them off on the one side. As soon as you square up to the basket and you see 2, you have to glance across court, because 9 times out of 10, they're dropping in from the weak side to help you out. So you know the pass has to continue along the floor to the other side. It's exactly what Douglas did. Did enough to turn around, square up to the basket, realize she had 2 and 3 players there. Someone had to be open further away from where the ball came from, and then she found Yallen outside for the 3. The big thing I always tell players when I coached high school was when you catch that entry pass, don't immediately put it down. First and foremost, square up to assess the situation and see who you have around you. If there are two people looking at you, somebody's got to be open. It's up to you to find them.
Inside analysis, Greg Layson right there providing his best look inside the game for us here on Rogers TV. So happy to have you here all the way from Guelph this afternoon as we feature terrific doubleheader action here at Alumni Hall. OUA West women's basketball tilt right now featuring your Western Mustangs against the Guelph Griffins, and Lauren Parks working hard on the baseline, finds Williams. Williams with the hook induced against Yallen right there. Yallen will pick up the foul.
Yallen didn't like the call, but I thought it was right. She certainly reached around. I thought she got a bit of Williams' arm, and that kind of spun her out of control enough to call the foul.
Anderson will inbound the ball to Parks. Got to find Anderson after she inbounds the ball. Here comes a pin down for Parks with the post. Takes a nice shiver in the back right there from Russell. Parks able to free herself up, working inside against Mulhausen, but could not get the ball to the floor in time. Traveling violation.
Officials letting them play today, especially down on the block. A lot of bumping and banging going on. No call at either end of the floor. And as a coach, if you're going to let it go on both ends of the floor, and nobody's ever going to complain.
Guelph able to solve the Western pressure defense as they get the ball across court to Yallen. Rotates it up through Freeman over around there to Mulhausen. Can't get a post entry. She wants to take it baseline. Cut off there. Freeman from the top, and there's Parks playing on the weak side, and you've got to recognize if you've got 6 foot and athletic playing weak side of a defense, you know she's there to hawk the ball.
You're quick enough to get her hands in there. Good vision to see where it's going, and then just enough to step in and knock it away.
Anderson teardrop from the middle, no good. Parks coming in, big collision there. Play on, say the officials. It was a loose ball, free for everyone. Possession on the floor by both teams.
Marley Freeman looked a little shaken up when she got up off the floor. It was kind of, she had to gather herself as we take a look at the bump here. Freeman did a nice job getting through that screen. Well, that was Anderson's teardrop that was short, and there's the bump. Kind of took a shoulder in the head.
Back to live actions. Mustangs turned it over, and here are the Griffins pressing back. Mulhausen tries a baseline cut off there by the Mustangs. Lundstrom out to defend Yallen. Shot clock trouble again for the Griffins. Can they get an opportunity? Double team in the corner. Great job by Williams and Parks to double team. And with 1 second on the shot clock, the possession stays with the Griffins. No reset here.
Got to run something quick off a screen, probably off a line down the free throw line along the side of the key.
1 second, look for that catch and shoot. Look for somebody going hard. Here's Yallen putting up a prayer. Yallen catches front iron, no good. Rondo with the rebound. Hands off to Anderson, who will push for the Mustangs.
Folks, if you're at home, follow your shot. That rebound came right back to where Yallen shot it from, and she didn't follow it.
Real nice job by the Griffins. Yallen getting down on the ground to pick that one up. Alex Yallen starting the breakout and creates a free throw opportunity for her teammates, as it is Anderson, I believe, whistled for the foul there. Her first of the game, and going to the line will be number 5, Marley Freeman, the rookie guard out of Aurelia.
The other thing that's incredible about Amanda Anderson's play is that she's so active throughout the game, and rarely is she ever in foul trouble. She does such a good job. She's so disciplined defensively, really smart, aware, court sense, knows where everything's at. Does a nice job just getting her hands in there enough to create the turnover and not foul.
And all of a sudden, you look up the scoreboard, 29-25. The Mustangs only ahead by 4, and they turn it over. Yallen ahead of the pack. Anderson racing hard. Cannot catch up. 2-point ball game with 1:20 to play in the first half.
Seems that 2-3 zone is paid off for Guelph, and as I mentioned, these teams played to a 10-point game last time they met, and it was Guelph's best game of the season.
Here is Parks working against the top of that zone, finds Williams in the corner, 8 seconds on the shot clock. Williams, terrific, almost move, and she travels as she heads to the baseline. Williams having trouble against the zone right now, and with 1 minute, just over a minute, pardon me, to play here in the first half, we've got the Griffins with their first opportunity to tie the game. However, careless pass thrown away. Turnover to the Mustangs.
And I was going to say that the Mustangs should continue to apply that pressure. They've had it on, but it hasn't been as aggressive as it was in the first quarter. I just think that it works against Guelph. I just don't think they have the hands or the experience in the backcourt to be able to break a press all game long. And if I'm head coach Steph Barry, I'm pouring it on until they can prove to me that they can break out and beat it with a fast break.
Coach Barry and I were of the same mind. We both thought that was last touched by the Griffins. It was, in fact, touched by a Mustang, so possession to the Griffins. 17 seconds and counting on the shot clock. Here's Russell working against Self. Yalin in the corner. Russell with position on Self here. Going back to the middle, no good. Kicks it back out, and that is the Alex Russell knocking it down right there, and the Griffins take the lead.
Their first lead, their three-point attempts have been on the money in the second quarter, and that's a big reason that they're back in this game.
The Mustangs cannot find an answer offensively right now. The defense leading to offense here for the Griffins. 30-29, 17 on the shot clock, about a 4.5-second differential shot clock and game clock. Mulhausen going hard to the rim. Blocking violation called on the Mustangs. This is a foul on the floor. Douglas ready to check back in for the final 16 seconds. Shot clock will be off as the Griffins have a chance to hold for last possession and take a lead into the locker room.
Well, if you had told me that this was going to be the case about 3 minutes into this basketball game, I'd have said you were crazy, but Guelph has done a nice job to settle in and find something else to work on offense. They've taken away the middle, and the guards have knocked down some shots.
Yalin with the ball, takes the screen from Russell. Russell slips off, gets a shot up against Parks. No good. Williams with the rebound. 7 seconds and counting. Chance for the Mustangs to get one more before the break. Williams rotates to Self. Self puts up the three. Contested, and it goes. Giving the Mustangs the lead going into the locker room. 32-30 the score here at halftime. We're going to take a quick break, but come on back and join us. Well, Coach's Analysis, halftime interview featuring Becky Williams and Melissa Rondonelli. It's all coming up here on Rogers TV. Hello, Neil. No, I've stolen Greg's headset for the coach interviews. Oh, sorry, Jen. She's here. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well. You won't be able to hear me through there. We've met once before. My wife Cheryl plays in the alumni games with you all the time. Nice to be back here, I imagine.
Yeah, always is.
You'll want to keep your inside ear off because there's no sound coming through, okay? High camera up top, I got him.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Standing by. Well, welcome back here to Alumni Hall. I'm joined by assistant coach of the Guelph Griffins and Mustang alumni, Jennifer Reed-Davidson. Jennifer, thank you for joining us. That first half of play, Jennifer, if you had told any of us that coming into this ball game, you guys would have the chance to go into the locker room at the halftime leading, I think a lot of people would have thought we were crazy. Tell us about what the Guelph Griffins did, particularly through the second quarter, that really got you back into the game.
I think the biggest thing was that we focused on our defense and we stepped it up. The first quarter we weren't even there. We were just kind of here going up and down the floor, and they stepped it up big time and got it away from their posts and hands up on the shooters, which they have a lot of, so we need to do that, continue it.
Now, you mentioned the shooters, and that's something that surprised us talking up here at the booth. looking at the fact that the Mustangs, they can put a ton of three-point shooters in particular out on the court. You chose to go to the 2-3 zone, seemed to create a lot of weak side turnovers for you. Can we expect to see more 2-3 in the second half?
I think we're going to vary it up and try to do 2-3, a little bit more man. We wanted to throw something different at them so that they were surprised with us coming out at a 2-3, especially with them being such good shooters. So we wanted to throw something at them that they weren't used to seeing from us.
Looking at some of the individual stats that are coming in at halftime, Alex Allen having herself a game right now, 11 points to lead your team in the first half. But Jasmine Douglas, the player we keep on talking about up here through the first half, what can we expect from her and your other post touches there in the second half? Are you going to try to go back to what's gotten you here in terms of post touches, or ride the hot hand with Allen?
We'll go both, obviously. If Alex continues to shoot well, we'll definitely go to her. And we always want to look inside, and hopefully our post will step it up and be strong and take it to the hoop.
Outstanding. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break, but more to come, including a sit-down with Becky Williams and Melissa Rondonelli, coming up next here on Rogers TV. Back here at Alumni Hall, and I'm joined up here at the commentator's booth by grade 7 basketball star at Parkview Public School and a member of my classroom, Mr. Sean Hawkins. Sean, what did you think of the first half?
Well, I thought that we played some really good defense, and in the first quarter we kept them down and we took a good lead, but in the second quarter they came back really strong, and I was very impressed. We had some really good shots that we put up, and I thought it was just great. I can't wait for the second half.
I couldn't have said it better myself. We're in for a dandy here at Alumni Hall. It'll be terrific. But right now, we're going to step away, and we're going to take a visit with two of the Mustang stars of that first half, Becky Williams and Melissa Rondonelli, as I had a chance to visit with them prior to today's game. Welcome to another edition of Meet the Mustangs. Here, my name is Kevin Gordon. Alongside me today, two of the impact freshmen to the Mustang women's basketball team, Melissa Rondonelli and Becky Williams. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
And a belated happy birthday to you, Becky, turning 19 on the January 28th. And Melissa, big day for you today. Not only a big first half that we witnessed from you and your teammates, but also a happy birthday to you, turning 19 today.
Thank you.
Ladies, both of you come out of terrific high school programs. You played club ball together, and you both decided on Western. Love to hear from each of you. What was it that sealed the deal and brought you to what was really a hometown school for both of you, coming to the University of Western Ontario?
Well, for me, staying at home was a big thing. My parents have probably never missed a game, so it's really nice for them to be able to come out to all of them. Even when we're traveling, it's not too far. The school's obviously great. I've known Steph for a while now, and he was a big influence on me coming here as well, so it was just a good fit for me.
Another thing that Becky said, it was close to home, so that obviously had an influence, and Steph also had a big impact on whether I was coming here or not. He was always so intrigued and always kept up to date with me and wanted to know how I was doing, so I knew that I had a good coach coming for me, and also I knew it was a great program. Everyone in my family went to Western, so I know I could trust this school.
What has the experience been like here off the court in terms of what you've been able to experience academically and socially while you've been here at Western?
It's a lot different than high school. It was kind of like overwhelming at the beginning, but after you get into it, it just kind of becomes routine and it's not really a big deal anymore. But it's just, I think the biggest part is how big this place is. Like, the classes are huge, the campus is huge, there's just people everywhere, but like you get to know so many different people. It's just nice, like, community, I guess.
Yeah, I think one big thing changed from high school was that everything is just a big step up. I mean, the basketball is obviously on a different level than high school was, and academics is on a different level, and everything's just a bigger picture here.
Now, you bring up the adjustment to playing basketball here at the CIS level. Wondering if the two of you could maybe let us in behind the game, if you will. Tell us a little bit about what some of those specific adjustments were and where you see the big gaps in terms of playing CIS ball versus having played your high school ball.
Well, in high school, obviously it's a lot slower paced and not as many details as you would see here. I mean, it's just a lot more competitive in the CIS level than you would see back at high school, and just a lot more people that want to actually be here, and you're playing with more people like ourselves, whereas high school people are just there because it's an extracurricular activity.
Yeah, it's totally true. Like, everyone's here to like fully compete. No one's here to like just kind of have fun and make friends and stuff. Like, that's part of it, but it's more of like you want to win and you want to beat teams, and it's just another level. For me, the biggest thing was defense. Like, it's just people are faster, people are stronger. It's just another level completely.
Now, the primary person helping you to make that adjustment, of course, Coach Steph Barry, who to a person in every interview that we've had, nothing but rave reviews for his preparation and attention to detail and getting you ready to take the court week after week. If you could, why don't you let our viewers know what's it like to play for a Coach Steph Barry team?
It's great. He takes so much time and pride in making his players the best they can be, and I've never seen anyone so passionate about the game, and it's great because you know there's always someone helping you to make you better, and he's just so intense, and it's great. I love it.
I've been playing since I was about 10 years old, and I've probably learned more in the last 8 months it's been in the whole time I've been playing. He's just so good at like figuring out who you are as a person and like how to teach you, and he just figures everything out so easily and so quickly.
So aside from the basketball aspect of things, what would you tell a prospective player about coming to the University of Western Ontario and why they might want to choose Western over some other potential destinations?
I think Western academically obviously has a great reputation. It's a huge school, so you have a lot of opportunities to meet people. It's fun. I don't know, it just has so many good qualities.
There's a place for everyone at Western. There's so many clubs and so many things that you can get involved with that no matter what kind of person you are, you're going to find someone else just like you. And you'll find things that you can get involved with that are like to your interests and your hobbies, and so you're never going to be sitting at home bored. You'll always have something to do.
That's terrific. Let's turn back the clocks a little if we could, ladies. We're going to talk about 2 seasons ago when the two of you were teammates on the Ontario Championship Juvenile Division I basketball program here with the London Ramblers. Playing together so long, is there a lot of, I imagine there's a lot of familiarity in your games between the two of you, and did that factor at all into your decision to come here to Western together?
Actually, honestly, when Melissa and I played together, we knew each other so well on the court. It was so easy to play, and up until a couple of months before, I didn't actually know Melissa was coming here. So our decisions were very on our own, but both of us were excited when we found out that we got to play with each other again. So.
Yeah, we've been in playing clubs since probably grade 4, so we've always competed against each other because I was part of the Lakers club, and so we knew each other from that. And then when we got on the court together, I mean, there's no really battle because we're not two posts or two guards, so we kind of went hand in hand with each other and everything went well, and like Becky said, it was a last-minute decision to come here. So, but we're both glad that we're here.
You mentioned there, Melissa. Thank you and welcome back here to Alumni Hall. I'm joined by assistant coach of the Western Mustangs, Matt Spencer. Matt, thanks so much for joining us.
All right, thanks for having me.
The tale of two stories there in the first half, Matt. You had the first quarter where Western seemed to get anything they wanted, both offensively and the defensive pressure seemed to be working. Then all of a sudden the Griffins go to the 2-3 zone in the second quarter, seemed to throw your girls for a bit of a loop. Can you describe for us perhaps some of the adjustments you're looking to make to that 2-3 zone in particular coming out to the second half?
Yeah, they did go to the 2-3 zone. It lasted only for about 4 minutes, and then they came out of it. We'll wait and see if they come back to it. But really, the adjustment isn't so much to what they're doing strategically. We have to be better in terms of focus and in terms of effort. You always have two choices. You can do what's hard or you can do what's easy. And 99% of the time, what's hard is what's right. We didn't do that in the second quarter at all.
You're looking at this, we're looking at the score sheet right here and seeing that Amanda Anderson, as one would expect, having herself a whale of a game, doing what she can to keep her squad in the ball game, 11 points through that first half of play. But Jackie Self really seems to have stepped up her play, especially look at that big shot at the end to put the Mustangs in the lead going into the break.
Yeah, the thing about Jacqueline, well, first of all, I guess to talk about Amanda, she's done that all year. Hopefully she continues to do it in the second half. But as far as Jacqueline goes, she's really starting to find her rhythm, like you said. The shot at half was big. A little bit of momentum puts us back on top heading into the second half. So, again, hopefully she can continue that easy performance.
With 30 seconds to go here, I'll ask you this one last question, let you get back to the bench for the exciting second half. But you look at the post players that Guelph is able to present, haven't really gotten involved yet. Is it a matter of yourself and the rest of the coaching staff knowing that it's only a matter of time before Guelph's bigs get involved, or do you feel you've got the defensive focus on them well enough that you're going to prevent them from having an impact on this game?
Yeah, no, our plan is to try to take away their inside game. We got burned a little bit because they did hit some outside shots in the second quarter. But again, that's what we need to make an adjustment on.
Well, Matt, thank you so very much for joining us here at halftime. Really appreciate it. Best of luck in the second half.
All right, thanks very much.
Second half about to get underway right here. 32-30 the score at Alumni Hall. Mustangs in front of the Guelph Griffins thanks to the shot at the buzzer. Three-pointer by Jacqueline Self. And now we have big man Greg Layson joining us once again here on the color mic, all the way from Guelph today. I've been looking through my purple gaze all afternoon. Perhaps you've had a bit of the red tinge on your gaze to go along with the shirt, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, Greg, on that first half as we talked about off mic. Certainly two different storylines, first quarter and second quarter.
Well, I think Guelph settled in and found themselves offensively, and I think part of the reason is that Western took off that aggressive press, and if I'm head coach Stephen Barry, I'm throwing it back on and making them beat me in transition. That's how you beat a press. You know you're beaten defensively if they're out running and getting that ball across the floor before you set the press. Guelph wasn't doing that. I'm throwing it back on if I'm Western. What really hurt Guelph, though, is the momentum, the big shift at the end. They had a chance to score and go ahead into the locker room, but they gave up the ball with 8 seconds left, and then that huge shot by Self.
And as you mentioned there, Coach Layson, we're going to have to call you there. Coach Barry putting the press back on, nearly got the half-court violation by Douglas as she seemed to lose a little track of where she was on the floor. And we have a whistle-stopping play right here as we had what looks like an inadvertent shot clock reset. 23 seconds showing on the shot clock, and the officials will confer with the table staff, and Coach Barry certainly adding his opinion. Coach Orton over to join to make sure her voice is heard as well.
Absolutely. As a coach, you never want to not have the last word, and you never not want to be included in that conversation.
Speaking of the last word, coming through loud and clear here on the headsets, and we see great pictures provided on the cameras. As always, we want to take just a moment to thank all of our wonderful volunteers in the truck, on the floor, here with Rogers TV, as they always put in great days, long days, but a great day's work to provide you with this terrific OUA West women's basketball coverage. Douglas working hard inside, no good, but Russell plays Johnny on the spot, puts it down. Russell now gives herself 4 points in the ball game. Pardon me, that's Russell with 6 in the ball game now. Going to the inside there is Parks. Parks contacted on the attempt. Looks like she's earning herself a trip to the free throw line. As you see there, Coach Orton and Coach Reed conferring, and they want to make sure they have the foul counts on each of their players as well. Nobody in significant trouble other than Douglas, who, pardon me, not Douglas, I apologize, the eyes are failing me. Alex Russell with a pair of fouls in that first half. On the Mustang bench, you've got Moss and Letty, both with a pair of fouls. So nobody really to speak of in big trouble as of yet. However, those can creep up quickly, especially when you have the kind of contact-riddled game that we've seen so far here today.
The officials let them play in the first half, and I hope they allow them to do the same thing in the second half. What would really frustrate a coach and a player is if they came out and started whistling all the stuff they didn't call in the first half.
The only thing you can ever ask for from a crew is to be consistent, isn't it?
I've always said, if you want to be consistently bad, that's fine. Just be consistent.
Ball last touched by the Mustangs there. Griffins will maintain possession on the sideline. Russell looking to get it in, finds Douglas in the corner. Nice thing about calling a Griffins game is Douglas lifts it from 12, no good. Letty with the rebound. Finishing the thought, nice thing about calling the Griffins games is that as soon as you say Russell, you know you got a 40% chance of being right about the person with the ball.
Exactly.
Anderson working against Freeman, rotates the ball. Letty coming up to set the screen, Self gave her the ball instead. Finds Williams weak side going against Yallen. Yallen cuts her off to the baseline. 2 seconds on the shot clock, throws up the prayer. No good. Shot clock violation by the Mustangs. I believe they're first compared to 4 that we've had in the ball game for the Griffins. Mustangs with that will get a chance to set up their backcourt pressure. Russell on the inbound looking for Freeman or Yallen. Douglas with a nice seal up the court. Great play there to break pressure. And Russell hard to the rack. Loses control, but is rewarded as the official on the baseline thought Letty got a poke on it.
And that was the perfect example of the press being broken. That is what you don't want to happen to you if you've got the pressure on. Guelph did a nice job getting it over the timeline without touching the floor.
Here is Freeman working against Williams. Freeman going hard. Williams got a hand on it. Turnover for the Mustangs. Anderson pushing up the court, working against Freeman. Rotates to Williams. And Self having herself a nice first half, goes hard to the baseline, stripped of the ball, looks at the ref for the call, nothing brewing there. There is Yallen, likes what she sees, stops and drops, but no good. Williams with the rebound. 3-on-1 opportunity if she can push. Self ahead of the pack, looking for the contact, no good. Johnny on the spot, ball into her hands. Parks with another offensive rebound. Third time the charm for the Mustangs, 35-32.
Too many Griffins standing around and not putting a body on someone, allowing Western just to simply go up and get the basketball.
Nearly losing control as Freeman finds Yallen. Yallen across the key to Russell. Russell up and down with the contact. And after what we've seen players get away with here today, Greg, might I say that looked like a little bit of a weaker variety of a foul call. And
that was what I was alluding to earlier in this second half is if you've let it go all first half, let it go in the second half. Instead, a bit of a ticky-tack foul you saw in the replay, up and in, +1 for Russell.
Alex Russell at the free throw line now, chance for the and one opportunity. Parks will have the daunting task of trying to keep Jasmine Douglas off the offensive glass here. No need, of course, as Russell converts. Ball quickly inbounded to Williams. 35 apiece here at Alumni Hall. Mustangs had a tremendous lead after the first quarter, 22-9. But boy, have the Griffins come to play, outscoring the Mustangs 21-10 in that second quarter. Ball slapped away by the Griffins. No one able to come up with it. Contact all over the place on the ground. Parks keeps it moving, gets the tie-up, and the Mustangs will maintain possession.
One thing we didn't touch on when it came to Guelph's comeback is that we have to remember that Caitlin Letty was on the bench for much of that second quarter, so it really changes the dynamic in the half-court set defensively for Western. It allows Jasmine Douglas to do more, and we saw Douglas demand that double team and kick it across, so opened up that outside game because there wasn't really someone who could play Douglas one-on-one. I think if there's a player on the floor that can, it would be Letty.
Moss takes the contact, no call, throws it off the outstretched arm of a Griffin. That was Russell tipping it out of bounds. Mallon set to inbound once again. Here comes Anderson off the curl, working hard to the middle, step back three. Short iron, no good, and here comes the whistle parade all of a sudden. Parks getting caught right there by the looks of things.
Not a terrible call, I don't disagree with it. She bumped into her, she kind of came down, crashed into her. I think what did it is that Russell actually took a step.
Doug was able to corral the pass right there. Freeman with the ball in rotation. Russell looking to set a screen. Again, Freer up in the corner, but gets herself open for the elbow. Jay, no good. Williams with the rebound. Long rebound, chance to break out. 2-on-4, though the Mustangs having trouble keeping up in transition right now. Parks going one-on-one on Douglas. No good right there, front iron. And it's looking to me like the Mustangs are playing a little tired right now, Greg.
They look tired and they look rushed offensively. Why put up the first shot that you see? You've got 24 seconds. Use it. Guelph's only forced them into one shot clock violation, so use that time and set up for a quality shot.
Well, speaking of quality shots, there's Rebecca Moss lining one up. No good. Mallon working hard for the rebound. She collects, able to throw it back up top, reset the clock. Speaking of quality shots, though, field goal percentage, we talked about the Griffins shooting so poorly in that opening quarter, 18%. They finished off 39% for that first half. The Mustangs dropping from 44% down to 36%. So certainly the two teams coming back to average after that interesting first quarter. Pressure applied by Mallon in the backcourt. Freeman with the ball, watched by Williams. Anderson out on Yallen, and Parks working hard against Douglas. Douglas working for position. She's got to watch how long she's in that painted area. Douglas one-on-one, just loses the handle as she was charging her way into the key. Lost the handle on the ball. Mallon on the wing now, resets to Williams.
Douglas made her move too soon. She was moving away from the basketball, didn't dribble it in with her.
Williams drops for Parks, gets a little up fake on Douglas, going hard. Finds some contact, and Lauren Parks will earn herself a trip to the free throw line, and the whistle's happening fast and furious right now, Greg.
That was a nice move by Parks. I thought she, we said it earlier in the first half that she's a threat offensively. Certainly has the experience, and did a nice pump fake there to get the defense frozen, took off, and got the foul.
Lauren Parks 2 of 2 from the free throw line on the afternoon. However, shooting measly 61% on the season from the charity stripe. Despite the fact that she leads the team in trips to the free throw line. And true to form there, missing on the first one.
Well, she's improved over the last week and a half because she was 52% from the free throw line last time I saw her play, so good on her for getting a little bit better at it anyway. Yeah, the big guys, those post players, and I know, we're not very good for the free throw line, eh?
Putting a plug in for the old stat line there, I like it. 38-35 the score here at Alumni Hall. Just over 5 to play in the third quarter of OUA West women's basketball action. The Western Mustangs squaring off against these Guelph Griffins. Disparity in the standings, but not on the court today, as the Griffins are forcing the Mustangs to play an ugly brand of basketball, and the Griffins are the better for it right now. Shot clock winding down, no rim right there. Anderson breaks back out against 3 Griffin players, cannot find anything. She will take the screen from Rondonelli. Rondonelli finds her way to the baseline, working against Russell. Nice drop step there, but Russell waiting for it. Rondonelli called for the travel.
And that, I believe, is the wrong call, because the FIBA rule should be that is a jump ball when it's tied up like that, if I'm not mistaken.
As many of our viewers know, but for those who do not, FIBA rules, the name of the game now in CIS basketball. The both men's and women's panels having gone to FIBA rules in the last 3 or 4 years now, changing from the old hybrid federation rules. Many, many differences, and the primary concern for most people, the most obvious difference, of course, the 24-second shot clock, but many other changes to the game that go along with it, specifically from the coaching end of things.
It's funny, I'm an NCAA fan as well, and to watch those teams work through a 35-second shot clock is suffering now. It's 24 seconds, I'm a big fan of it.
And once again, shot clock trouble for the Griffins. Yields really a terrible shot attempt there by Jamie Green, but unfortunately no choice but to put it up, try to catch a little bit of iron right there. Goes down against her in the stat line, unfortunately, but that's one where her teammates certainly played a role in creating that poor shot opportunity for her.
Guelph's got its best shooter and its best post presence on the bench right now. I'm surprised that Ann Jordan doesn't alternate those to at least leave one decent threat out there on the floor, but right now Yallen and Douglas both on the bench. As Douglas looks to check back in, she's in front of the scores table now.
Here is Mallon working at the top against Green, and that is Anderson tickling the twine for 3.
Can't leave her open again. Good ball rotation by the Western Mustangs, and Amanda Anderson just goes to an open spot and knocks down a 3.
Anderson with her 4-3 of the afternoon, having herself a day here at Alumni Hall and getting herself dirty on the ground right there. And there you see, you mentioned it earlier in the game, Greg, Amanda Anderson, not just the scoring threat, does so many things for her ball club.
Well, it's her assist-to-turnover ratio that is certainly terrific, and she is just so good defensively. You almost overlook her defense because she's so active and so good offensively.
Kara Mulhausen to the rim, uncontested, no good, tipped away. Anderson comes away with it. She'll lead the charge 1-on-2, going hard for the baseline to flatten the D. Self with the ball in rotation gets a great screen from Rondonelli. Mallon wide open, no good, but there is an offensive rebound by Self up top to Moss. Anderson, wide open baseline right there, no help side D. Passes it up, rotates the ball. They're going to use a little shot clock as they're starting to feel the momentum shift back to the purple and white side here. They want to make sure they get quality shot attempts. There's Rondonelli inside. Gets it to drop. And one opportunity here. Melissa Rondonelli, 43-35. The lead starting to open up once again for the Mustangs.
And Western doing exactly what I had hoped they would have done, protect the basketball and not take the first shot. Why? Amanda Anderson started running the point. How many times has she come down the floor now? I think 3 possessions in a row. She has been the head man, gone down, set up, and assessed the situation, not rushed a shot.
Forces Coach Orton into a timeout for the Griffins. And right now, you take a look at that Griffin bench. Coach Orton imploring her charges right now. Offensively, we've got to get back to what got us here. If Yallin's in the game, working the offense through her when Douglas is in, looking to get the one-on-one post opportunities. We talked time and again, Greg, over the afternoon about how these two teams competing so well in the on the court right now. It kind of belies their positions in the standings. However, when you take a look right there, Western sitting in that number 2 spot, Guelph, as you mentioned off the top, fighting for their playoff lives.
Well, this is it. You can see there Guelph with 4 points. If they win their 5 remaining games, it would put them in a tie with Laurier. Laurier would have to tank, and then it would go to a tiebreak situation. I still believe Laurier actually holds the advantage, so Guelph would officially be out of the picture today if they lose. Western, meanwhile, for some reason, these two teams play well against each other. Guelph just has their number. Take a look at the East standings, and Carleton on top for the women. And how about Carleton on the men's side, their counterparts yesterday, with a big upset. So Carleton on top, but the men may not have as many bragging rights as the women right now going into this weekend, as the men lost to York last night.
Head coach Taffy Charles with that women's program up at Carleton for the first time in the program's history entering the CIS top 10 ranking. So congratulations to Coach Charles and the great work he's done up there in Ottawa. And he's got his program having, from our rough calculations, has already locked up first place in the Eastern Division for the playoff run.
Winning breeds winning. When you see the men's program having such great success, everyone wants to feed off that. Happens here at Western with the football team being so good, it trickles down to all the other programs.
Here is Russell one-on-one with Moss. Little inside screen by Douglas, no good. Last touch by Douglas. She's frustrated with herself, but she's got to turn around and go play some D as Yalin checks back into the game for the Griffins.
Western doing a nice job in that defensive set. You have to wonder if Coach Barry has instructed them to get a little more aggressive and get back to what got them that huge lead in the first quarter. It was that aggressive stance they had, full court and half court. They kind of lost it in the second quarter.
I can't wait to see those third quarter stats come in about 2.5 minutes here as Self's working against Douglas. Drops inside for Rondonelli, but Rondonelli got trapped inside, could not get herself out of the key three, and the key violation right there. Subs coming in for the Griffins. Back into the game there is Freeman and Russell. You look at the stat page right now, wanting to see those stats through the first half of play. The Mustangs shooting 43% from three-point land, 6 of 14, surpassing their nation-leading season total of 36%. So certainly the best team in the country. In the case of the rich getting richer here this afternoon, but the Griffins have been doing what they can to keep themselves in the game, and that 2-3 zone certainly threw the Mustangs for a loop for a while. No good on the attempt by Russell right there. The Mustangs breaking back.
You get the feeling whoever plays the best defense down the stretch is going to win this basketball game. And right now, Western is back playing the way it played in the first quarter.
Man-to-man defense by the Griffins, and we have Rondonelli called for the illegal screen right there as she was moving along trying to get her teammate a little extra advantage.
Everybody does it, but not everyone gets caught. That's the big thing about screens, and Rondonelli set that one right in front of the official.
Minute 49 to play here in the third quarter. Mustangs ahead by 8. For all the whistles we heard early on, only 3 team fouls apiece through this quarter. No penalty situation for either team coming down the stretch as of yet. Although that's the announcer's kiss of death. Here is Freeman working against Mallon. Finds Yallen in the corner. Yallen no good. Letty with the rebound. Letty brings it down, gives the Griffins a swat at it. Finally gets the ball out to Self, who pushes back. Self playing that point forward role, finds Moss on the baseline. Moss able to rotate for Self at the top. And Mallon wide open in the corner. Count the 3, 46-35. When Mallon gets her feet set, that's something that she's been doing in all her days in the purple and white.
How about the vision of Self to really just stay calm at the top, assess the situation, find the open player in the corner. You really wonder what Self could have brought to this team as she played all season. A transfer from Troy in 5 games here looks very, very good.
Real nice move by Mulhausen there, earning herself a trip to the charity stripe. Little up and under, how you doing, as she goes to the line for a pair. Foul there on Self. We'll get another look at it here on the replay. Correction back to live action. Mulhausen waiting for her opportunity at 2 at the line. Talking about Self, I had the chance to visit with her a couple of weeks ago prior to a ball game, and one of the questions I was able to ask her was, whose game has yours been compared to? And one of the players that she brought up was Scottie Pippen, playing that point forward role, sort of a 15, 6, and 5 type of player, getting involved in all aspects of the game, playing good defense on positions 1 through 4. And so that's a player that over the next couple of years with the Mustangs losing Amanda Anderson, Lauren Parks, certainly Jackie Self is a name that we'll be saying more and more often through these broadcasts in the years to come.
It's a great description by herself to describe her game. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Can hit an outside shot, can slash to the basket, has good vision, and she mixes it up on the rebounding as well.
Comparable players on that Griffins roster. One of them perhaps standing right there guarding the inbounds, Alex Russell, a player that's counted on for a bit of a mid-range game, but not so much with the ball distribution, but certainly trying to get her teammates involved when she has the opportunity. The Mustangs able to clear the ball over half. Nice little give and go. Rondonelli takes the airmail from Parks, passes it up for Letty to convert, and there's the speed right there of Freeman, creating the foul as Williams caught reaching in. Freeman just put it into another gear.
Freeman certainly has the speed. You know, it's funny, we talk about how this guard play is a little thin and a little inexperienced, but 3-4 years down the road from now, this year is going to be looked back upon as the year that made those guards so good. Marley Freeman getting the time early, Jamie Green getting her time early, not sitting behind someone, being thrown right into the fire essentially for the Guelph Griffins.
And you hate to, you never want to wish ill will on anyone, never wish anyone an injury. However, as you say, if there's any silver lining to that, the Greens, Freemans, Heffleys of the world certainly able to capitalize on the opportunity that's fallen into their laps and prove to Coach Orton and her staff that when it comes time in a couple of years for us to play a more serious role or a bigger role in terms of offensive responsibility with this squad, we're going to have the minutes and the mileage on our tires to get in there and be able to compete at this level.
I mean, they're probably never going to be an Ali Zakowski, who is a national caliber player, but it certainly will be a luxury to take Ali off the floor and then have the confidence to put in Jamie Green or Marley Freeman and know that no harm is going to be done with those players on the floor after having a full year's experience. As freshmen, they have started nearly every game this season because of everyone else's injuries.
Well, we mentioned Zakowski, and we keep talking about the future being bright for these Griffins right now. Zakowski and another player that we haven't mentioned yet, Sam DeJong, forward out of St. Catharines, and I remember watching her as she was coming up through the club system, and certainly not a player to be sneezed at. And Jordan doing a nice job of reloading the cupboard for herself.
We should mention all 3 of those players right now, Zakowski, Rajnik, and DeJong, out with knee injuries. DeJong suffered through mono too earlier in the season. She was told to stay completely away from the team leading into and out of Christmas break as she had a bout of mono, but she is a player that comes in, she's so aggressive. I love watching her play. Really goes at the basket and plays so well defensively.
The future bright for the Griffins, but the present certainly the concern. 8 seconds and counting. Mustangs up by 9, trying to get just a little more going into the fourth. Letty, great position. Goes up, no call there. Even up ball right there. And the Griffins break back to end the quarter without a shot attempt. After 3 quarters of play, Mustangs 48, Griffins 37. Mustangs up by 9. Come on back and join us for fourth quarter action here on Rogers TV. Fourth quarter action on the way here at Alumni Hall. Mustangs 48, the Griffins 37. The Griffins certainly hanging around in this one, Greg, doing everything they can to force an ugly performance by the Mustangs, as the Mustangs not nearly approaching their season scoring average, which as we sit right now is at almost 74 points a game, fourth in the country, only 48 through 3 quarters.
Well, you mentioned it, play ugly. It's kind of been an ugly, sloppy game. Both defenses working real hard. Full court pressure by the Mustangs. Guelph threw it on there in the third quarter, kind of made some hay. But now Western ahead by 11. And you mentioned it, the perfect response is hanging around. That's the perfect description. You want to be hanging around. You want to be within 10 points down the stretch. If you can get it down to a 3-possession game, you should be happy for Guelph.
Mulhausen gets to go one-on-one to the baseline. Both she and Letty coming up just a little worse for wear. Thought there might have been a couple of steps early there by Mulhausen. Of course, that's my purple gaze coming through. But she earns herself a trip to the line there, chance to open the scoring. Looking at these 3-quarter stats here, Greg, 7 points scored by the Griffin women there in that third quarter. Even less than that relatively weak offensive output in the first quarter. Only 9 in the first, 7 in the third. So Coach Barry's defense certainly coming to play. Held Yallen scoreless. Their leading scorer for the Griffins through the first half held her scoreless there in the third quarter.
That's a huge accomplishment considering she went 3 for 6 from behind the arc in the first half, and she really was the key of getting Guelph back into this basketball game. And then they took the ball out of her hands essentially and ran away with it, winning that last quarter 16-7.
Becky Williams hard to the right side, no good. Russell with the rebound. Jasmine Douglas, of course, the other one we've really been keeping an eye on here this afternoon. Parks, terrific active hands inside. Cannot come up with a loose ball. Griffin possession on the sideline. Douglas averaging a double-double of late and nearly a double-double on the season. 10th of a rebound away from officially averaging that. But the Mustangs doing a terrific job of keeping her quiet this afternoon. 4 points, 4 rebounds. Sam Russell, wearing number 11, doing the job on the glass for the Griffins with 9 boards in the game.
They've really shut Douglas down. Douglas did have a double-double against Western last time these two teams met, so Western obviously done their homework and have taken the ball out of 2 big players' hands, Douglas and Yallen.
Mulhausen able to get that shot up just at the buzzer. Loose ball, Western comes away with it. 4-on-3 opportunity. Anderson, veteran presence right there, pushes hard to the rim. Count the basket and 1 opportunity as the Mustangs with an 11-point advantage, chance to grow that one.
How about the speed and athleticism of Amanda Anderson to peel through 2 defenders and have the control to put this up. Just accelerates right there, splits the defense, enough control to put the ball in and head to the free throw line. A terrific play by Amanda Anderson.
give her the three-point play. That adds to her game-leading total. Give her 19 on the afternoon. 4 of 7 from downtown for Amanda Anderson this afternoon. The Mustangs shooting a blistering 8 of 19 in the ball game. That's good for 43% behind the arc.
You almost have to concede that Anderson is going to score 20 against you. You know right away.
Here is Russell. Likes what she sees just inside the arc. Nothing but air. Last touched by the Mustangs. Not sure why we have a shot clock reset. Coach Barry getting after the officials about that. Officials recognize that they're conferring. And we're going to have 3 seconds put back on the shot clock as we get another look. Here is Russell from the corner, catching nothing but air. Ball goes up, out of bounds off the Mustangs.
I thought Mulhausen touched it on the way out, and that's initially why I thought the whistle blew. I wasn't looking at the shot clock. I thought they were going to correct the call.
Here is Russell, inbounds. 2 6-footers, cut her off. Rebound to Parks. Parks now able to push for the Mustangs. Always nice when you have your four-man able to lead the break for your team. Coast to coast, Lauren Parks. Here's my left hand. Here's 2 points.
That's just poor defense by the Guelph Griffins. You cannot let a position 5 player, run the floor like that and get an easy bucket.
And now we have Freeman breaking back. Goes in amongst the trees, does Russell, no good. Parks once again leading things here. Self, little up fake to get her defender in the air, and the Mustangs now starting to put a little bit of space between themselves and the Griffins. Coach Horton calling a timeout.
And everyone getting it done. Self, before that Parks, and again, there's Self showing you her court sense. Doing enough to stutter, pump fake, and go up and knock it down. You get a second look at it. Just so aware, so quiet, goes about her job, just kind of workmanlike out there. Nothing flashy, but so solid. I like that. It's a great addition for Western.
Well, you look at the lineup that Western had on the court just a moment ago. As you say, at the 5, you've got Parks. There's Self at the 4. At the 3, I think, was Mallon.
Yep.
And then you've got Anderson and Williams, 2 and 1 right there. A very, very athletic lineup, and with 8 players. I keep going back to the fact that Griffins today, due to injuries and others, only 8 players suiting up for them today. How can they be expected to keep up with the depth of an athletic team?
And that's another reason that the Western Mustangs should be pressuring from whistle to whistle. You got to wear them down. They aren't going to have the legs down the stretch to be able to combat a full court press. And that's why if you were head coach Stephen Barry, I would have pressed from start to just about finish until this game was out of reach. That second quarter, he pulled it off a little bit, reined it in for the Western Mustangs, and Guelph took advantage and ended up being down by 2 at halftime. But again, now you see the pressure's on. It's 55-39 in favor of the Stangs. They're out running the floor. It's the other thing. I would have got out in transition too, because 8 players are not going to keep up with you.
A 7-2 run in the first minute, 53 of the fourth quarter, and it will be Douglas, Russell, Freeman, Mulhausen, and Green out there for the Griffins, trying to slow down this Mustang attack. They'll counter with Letty, Parks, Self, Anderson, and Williams. Certainly you've got 2 squads right now going in different directions, and now on the scoreboard seemingly the same way as well. Griffins inbound the ball, pressure applied in the backcourt, just as Coach Layson recommended. There is Freeman able to bring it up. High post entry for Russell. Douglas working hard to get position weak side. Can't rotate the ball over to find her. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Douglas will have to create herself. Able to get one up. Back iron, no good. Rebound to Self. Self able to push out. 3 on 2 forming up for the Mustangs. Williams in the corner, right back to Self. Wide open Anderson on the weak side. Can't find her. Anderson watches Parks take it in. Letty with the offensive rebound, working way too hard for the Griffins.
Tough to stop. She is just as talented as Jasmine Douglas for these Western Mustangs. It's a great battle. It's too bad Letty got into foul trouble early. It would have been a great battle to watch progress throughout the game had Letty been on the floor as much as Douglas.
Here is Mulhausen, working from the top out of that 3 spot. Rotates the ball up. Shot clock issue again. 2 seconds. Miracle has to go up. Up in time, no good. Self with yet another rebound. And by the end of this game, Jackie Self will put together for herself quite the little stat line. And as you said, a very quiet one. Anderson, not so quiet today. She's already got at least 19 in the ball game. Puts it up, no good. Jump ball called, though. Mustangs will keep possession.
itself is like a good umpire. You don't notice that they're out there when they're doing such a good job, and that's kind of the stat line she's put together today. You look down, you think, gee, she had a terrific game. How'd she do it? You didn't see it. And she doesn't create any turnovers. She doesn't take stupid fouls. She just plays so smart and so effortlessly out there offensively.
The Griffins trying to find any kind of answer they can. There's Letty off a nice feed from Anderson. Anderson drawing the double team right there. Opens up her teammate. Letty converts. 20-point lead now opened up for the Mustangs. 2 points scored by the Griffins in this fourth quarter. Russell will try to add to that. There are points numbers 3 and 4. 59-41 for the Mustangs. Becky Williams with just over 6 minutes to play, looking to start one final run here for the Mustangs to really put this thing to bed. Moss with the ball. Hands for Anderson. Moss finds herself alone in the corner. Penetration to create for Letty. Letty goes left side, draws contact, and she's going to the free throw line. Now, talking to Coach Barry before the game, Greg, he said that the most dangerous thing about these Griffins is the fact that they do hang around. So even though we're staring at an 18-point lead right now, he knows that the Griffins are able to get out there, create a couple of turnovers with that defense, hit a 3 or 2, and all of a sudden, they're creating a ball game again. So Western, they've got to develop that killer instinct if they're going to put these girls away.
And that's kind of the magic number I've always said is 10. 9 or 10, because if it's 9, it's 3 threes and you're right back in it. If it's 10, 3 threes, you're down a point and a bucket wins it. So you really want to just hang around and be within 10 in the fourth quarter, maybe with 3 minutes to go. And that's so dangerous. Don't be surprised now if Guelph presses to get back into this game while Western presses to put it out of reach.
The press wanting to create those extra possessions. When you're trailing, how do you create extra shots for yourself? We've got to force turnovers or get to the glass. They'll be looking to do the latter here. And there they are, offensive rebound for Miss Russell as she's able to rotate the ball up top for Heffley. Rotation around the arc. Yallen looking at it. Watched by Anderson. Yallen finds Russell curling to the corner. Russell puts it up and down, and there it is. Offensive rebound, creating 2 points for the Griffins.
Russell's not going to miss that shot. We talked about it. She's such a good inside threat and has such a reliable jump shot from about 13 feet away from the basket.
Here is Anderson. Rotation to Moss. Moss for 3. And Rebecca Moss having herself an afternoon as well. Moss already good on 2 of 5 in the afternoon. Make that a 50% afternoon from 3-point territory.
And if you're Guelph, that's a killer. You did a nice job, ran the offense, got an offensive rebound, scored, and then gave up a 3 at the other end.
For as ugly as the game has been for both squads here, Greg, shooting percentages really quite impressive. The Mustangs' 3-point percentage in particular. Moss will step into another one. She's feeling it right now, fans. Rebecca Moss, back-to-back threes.
Back-to-back threes gives her team a 22-point lead, and that should probably do it.
Here is Russell, too strong on her 3-ball attempt, but Yallen coming through with the O board. And the Griffins will start to extend their offense just a little bit, start looking for the first good 3 perhaps, or the end one opportunities, as they need to score with this clock stop if they're not getting extra opportunities at the rim.
You have to think that head coach Ann Jordan has checked in a timeout. I would, even if the game is out of reach. Now it's a teaching tool. It's teaching time to get this Griffins team ready for next season.
Anderson opens herself up at the free throw line for a pair, and the Mustangs must have been listening to us there, Greg. We talked earlier on about the fact that they were nowhere near that season average in scoring, but boy, there's 74 points average certainly attainable here, as they have 67 already with over 3:40 to play in the fourth quarter. There is Russell putting the team on her back right now, trying to create for her offensive squad right now. She scored the last couple of points for the Griffins, but as you say, could be too little too late.
We saw Russell with that reliable J, and then a nice inside move there, going inside the paint and putting it up with the right hand, a little bit of a hook.
Letty one-on-one, chooses to dish from Allen. Rotation for Anderson, feet set 3, no good. Rebound cleared away by Green, who will push for the Griffins. 18 points the difference, 22 points the difference right now. My math obviously failing me on a Saturday. Mallon just rips that rebound away, and as you saw right there, no Griffins in sight on that rebound, just a single one. That's almost the white flag going up.
it's a product of two things. One, the confidence, knowing that this game is probably over. Two, they're just dead tired. They can't get in there and mix it up anymore with just 8 body stress today.
All 3 subs ready to check in for the Griffins right now, as likely 2 of these players will just be getting a quick rest, and they'll be going back in, as you say, all the Griffins right now just gassed as a result of a terrific effort that they put in here for the last for the entire game right here, as they did all they could to compete with one of the better squads in the OUA West.
I don't think anyone has faulted Guelph's effort all season long. It just is a product of injuries. 3 knee injuries and a case of mono will do that to a team, especially when it's all at one position. And it's been at the guard spot for Guelph, and that's where they've suffered.
And not only that, but then you look at the production and the specific players that are sitting on the bench now as a result of those injuries. You couple that with the fact that there are a lack of players to take minutes away from some of your starters, and you mentioned the C word, confidence. All of a sudden, if you don't have some of those go-to players that you expect big things from, the season becomes a little bit longer for you. 2:25 to play. Mustangs looking to get it over half here. They do. Parks working that point forward roll right now. Lundstrom will rotate to Self. Self playing the point guard spot with both Anderson and Williams on the bench. Finds Lundstrom in the corner. Post entry for Letty, no good. Tipped away, last touched by Letty. Turnover, Griffin's ball.
Letty doesn't like to call that her team is up by 22. She should just be happy to run out the string now and get another win in the win column for her Mustangs.
67-45, 2:07 to play here at Alumni Hall. Griffins, Russell from the corner for 3. Hits the rim a few times but will not drop. Parks clears the rebound, gains front court for the Mustangs. Letty with the screen. Parks open in the corner for the long 2. Front rim, no good. Russell with yet another rebound.
Russell is playing really well in the fourth quarter. Despite the score, despite this team's record, I've really been impressed with the way Russell has played down the stretch of this basketball game.
That is the 4th year Alex Russell variety, older sister of Samantha. And after some moans and groans from the fans, ball will remain with the Griffins. Minute 29 to go, 67-45. Both teams kind of keeping things at bay over the last minute and a half of play. And the Mustangs sending in the only player that has yet to see the court, Lynn Nguyen, for the Mustangs. Rookie out of Oakville. 3-point attempt off the glass by Freeman, no good. Self will push at the point guard spot. Self coast to coast, lots of contact, brought the ball down, but hammered out of bounds by the Griffins. Chance again for the Mustangs.
She's just so smooth in transition, handles the ball so nicely. Just a great player to watch. And she kind of lulls you into that sleep, not really paying attention to her, and all of a sudden she explodes to the basket.
Parks nearly coming wide open underneath Mulhausen, stuck on her now. Nguyen with position, had the seal, but the foul called, pardon me, looks like out of bounds call. Turnover here nonetheless. Griffin possession, ball back into play. 67-45, the score remains. Neither team getting much done on the offensive side the last couple minutes of play. There is Alex Russell, who's had herself that terrific fourth quarter, and really a solid game overall. Traveling violation, though, on the younger Samantha Russell. Turn it over, ball to the Mustangs.
Yeah, Alex Russell has certainly showed no quit in her game. Just 6 points through 3 quarters, but had a terrific fourth quarter here. She's got at least that here in the final frame.
Parks stay in bounds, Self playing the point guard spot once again, as both Anderson and Williams appear to have their days ended by Coach Barry as he stapled them to the bench. 47 seconds to go. There is Self curling around the top. She'll work with Parks. Nguyen setting position for her. Rotate the ball. Self attacking hard from the top. Contact comes in. And that being only the 3rd team foul will give the Mustangs possession on the end line. 38 seconds to go here in the ball game. Mallon looking for somebody to come open. Parks trying to work position. There is Self from 3. Count it. And as you said, smooth, soft, and quiet right there.
Just such a nice form to her shot. Great rotation, nothing but net. I swear she doesn't hit the rim on any of her shots. They're all through the bucket. Touching nothing but net on the way through.
70-45 here, less than 30 to play. Turn it over, Mustangs ball. 25 on the game clock, 24 on the shot clock. We'll see if the Mustangs elect to take advantage, and that is the one problem with the 24-second shot clock. You do have to play out the possession, cannot dribble out the game right now. Will have to put up the shot attempt unless they be charged with yet another turnover. Self takes the high screen from Parks. Self probing the left side, puts one up, front rim, no good. And Lundstrom, they'll quit in her. She goes hard after the ball, but Freeman comes away with it. Freeman attacking Self. And both teams playing things hard right till the end.
Good effort by Freeman to go right at a very skilled player. If you're going to be out there, you may as well try. You may as well finish it right to the end. And Freeman sending a message to head coach Ann Jordan and perhaps the Mustangs that she's going to be around for a while and she's not afraid to take it to the hole.
And correction, this ball will be possession on the end line, not in the act of shooting somehow. And Russell will inbound. Freeman finds herself at the arc, cannot get it to her there. Here is Alex Russell going hard. Mallon reaches in. Looked like a lot of ball from my purple glasses, but the ref didn't think so.
And there's an example of when I said, don't put the ball on the ground. The dribble didn't really get her anywhere. She could have made it there with just dropping down with a drop step with her left foot. Instead, she put it down, and once it gets down to your waist, you allow players to reach in and steal the ball from you.
Taking a quick look at the stat sheet, Greg, it is a 22-8 run here in the fourth quarter of play. So for the Mustangs, and there is the 9th point for the Griffins. If she misses here, that will be 3 quarters of single-digit scoring for the Griffins today.
Struggled offensively, but I think a lot of the credit has to go to the Western defense. They've been good, full court, half court. It didn't really matter what they played. They were very, very tough defensively, and that's a good sign for the Western Mustangs as we head into the playoffs, because defense is going to win you those ball games down the stretch when it counts.
Heading into the playoffs is unfortunately something we can officially say is out of the question now for the Griffins as they fall to the Mustangs 70-47 here at Alumni Hall. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll come on back and wrap things up here from Alumni Hall on Rogers TV. Welcome back. Final score here at Alumni Hall. The Mustangs 70, the Griffins 47. Terrific effort really put in throughout the game as the score through 3 quarters was only an 11-point advantage for the Mustangs. 48-37 the score after 3 there, Greg. But in that fourth quarter, the Mustangs' depth and skill really seemed to take things over.
Yeah, Guelph just 8 players, and the Mustangs continued to put the pressure on, and when they applied that pressure full court and half court, it made a difference, and they capitalized. Their defense created the offense for the Western Mustangs today.
When you start speaking offense for the Mustangs, we got to talk about Amanda Anderson, one of 4 Mustangs in double figures today in terms of scoring. 28 points, 8 rebounds on the afternoon. But the stat that jumps out most of all to you, sir?
No turnovers by Amanda Anderson. This offense runs through her. She controls this team. Not a single turnover, 7 assists and 3 steals. That is as perfect a line as you can get in a basketball game.
The Mustangs shooting a blistering 46% from three-point land here on the afternoon, 41% overall from the field. Just a terrific afternoon. But for the Griffins, someone with absolutely no quit in her ball game, Alex Russell really had herself a terrific fourth quarter and doing all she could to keep her Griffins in the game.
Did a nice job, ended up with 12 points. She really stepped up when no one else could, only 8 players on the floor. Western took away Alex Allen, who was a sharpshooter, hit 3 threes in the first half and really was the difference, kept him in the game. When she was out, they went to Russell. She did a nice job. Unfortunately, just 8 players. It's going to be tough to win a basketball game when you're that short.
The Mustangs in second place in the OUA West. The Guelph Griffins remain in the cellar. That'll do it here from Alumni Hall on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of our producer, Neil Johnson, from Greg Layson and myself, Kevin Gordon, thank you for watching. Have a great afternoon, folks.